Working on a '06 Pontiac Grand Prix today with a Misfire. Setting a P0300. We're not really worried about any of these other codes right now, just the P0300. If we look under live data, still getting used to this thing. They kind of hide things every once in a while. Pulling up the Misfire data. And I have history, 41,000 misfires on cylinder 1. Just a few randoms, but mostly 1 and 4. So we're going to run through figuring out what's going on 1 and 4. And something to note right away is 1 and 4 are fired off the same coil pack, and then 2 and 5 and 3 and 6 are also all on their own coil pack, so it's 2, 2, and 2. So we're going to break out the scope and check for spark. Okay, the first thing we're going to do is check a cylinder that is not misfiring, just to make sure we can get a good pattern. So I'm going to check the top coil on number 6, and I've got a decent pattern there. So now I know the top coil, more than likely, we'll check this one too, just for the heck of it. More than likely, the top coil is going to be my positive coil. But you see, if I scope one of the bottom towers on the coils, I'm not getting a waveform there, but if I invert it, I do. So I know out of these 2 are fired off this one coil. That's positive, that's negatively fired. So same should happen on 4 and 1. So 1 is my negatively fired coil. I come over here, no sparky spark. And let's check 4, because we got a miss on 1 and 4. And remember to take the invert off. I'm not getting anything there either. So, bad coil, right? Well, we're going to find out. So, I don't know if this coil is faulty or if the ignition module that is mounted up underneath here, this little plate looking thing here with the wires going to it, is the ignition module. That's what actually fires the coils. So that could be faulty too. So we don't know. Is this both sides of the positive and negative side of this coil firing the problem, or is it not getting told to fire? And I have 2 working ones. So I could, unmount this, put some jumper wires in, do a bunch of messing around, or I can move this one to here and this one to here, and if I have spark here now, it's a coil. If I don't have spark here, because I know this coil is good, then it's a faulty ignition module. So that's what we're going to do. Okay, all swapped. 6 and 3 coils here. 1-4 coil is here. Spark plug number 6 wire is where it goes. 3 is where it goes. 4 is where it goes. 1's where it goes. So it's important. Now we could just hook up the scanner, check our misfire monitors, which is probably a good plan. So let's fire up the engine and do that. Horn works. So it's still misfiring. And you can see our misfire counts on 4 and 1 on the current are counting up. I don't know if that's going to focus really well, but 1 and 4 are counting up still. So let's go back to our scope. And hook our lead back up. Let's see if that 1-4 coil works. Yep, sure does. So 1-4 coil works. and no spark. So we know with a reasonable doubt that we have a faulty ignition module. Let's take a second and get rid of the paint stick marks there. Be professional about it. Some guys just leave them on there. I like to wipe them off. It's not my car. I don't write on people's stuff and just leave it. So if you're going to be a professional, be a professional. Okay, here's the wiring and pinout for that ignition module. It's got one ignition feed here. I'm going to put an amp clamp on that to verify that I don't have a shorted coil before I put my new ignition module on. Here you can see that missing ignition coil amp ramp. But the ones that are firing are nice and even. So just got an amp clamp on there so I can get that. So I just want to make sure I don't have a shorted coil, change the ignition module, and ruin a second one. So that's how we're going to verify that. So, all right, replacement ignition module in. No more misfire counts. I don't know if you can see that. I can't see it on the screen, but I can see it. So no misfires. Let's go out and look at the lab scope now. Oh, I'm upside down. So here you can see I do have spark. Probably don't need to have it so low, but so now you can see I do have spark. I do have good amperage across all three ignition coils. Everything's working the way it should. So we're done. Car's fixed. Success. Sometimes swapnostics is just faster. So in this case, it's just faster and easier to swap the coils around, check amperage draw, than try to set up test leads and stuff and mess around that way. So quick, easy way to run through this. I see these ignition modules misdiagnosed. It seems like every one I get from another shop, or if the customer tries to fix it themselves, these coils will all be new, and new plugs, wires, all that stuff. So we save the guy several $100s by just doing the module and proving that all the ignition coils are good. So that's the conclusion. Thanks for watching.